is the second law of thermodynamics.
The audience was in an uproar, actually. They were shouting at him, standing up and shouting at him. And I went over to the edge of the platform and I said, please, no, calm down now. It was something I had never encountered in any of my experience anywhere.
The theatrics that he was using, it looked foolish, and it surely backfired on him.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me just conclude by saying this. All I'm asking you to do is weigh all of the evidence on each side and then decide for yourself which model of origins, creation or evolution, do the data fit best. In my scientific studies, I've become convinced the best statement we can say about our origins today is still, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. I thank you very, very much.
A debate format is a good way of perhaps bringing attention to certain issues, but it's not a very good way of getting to resolutions of them. So I think that Gish understands the format that he works with and has done a pretty good job of presenting a large number of points in a short and succinct manner that's difficult to respond to. But I don't think that that is necessarily conducive of getting to the truth.
Are we talking about missionaries? Are we having lies told for God? Are we having lies told for mammon? No. There is only one conclusion that you come to when you have a good look at the operations and activities of the creation. They are telling lies for mammon. Here is Satan. He wants God's blessing for the devil's work.
After viewing the debate, I thought that Professor Plimer was acting like someone who was very angry about what he saw as misrepresentations by the creationists, but who was allowing his emotions to override his reason. He was reacting in a very harsh, arrogant, and aggressive manner, and with what appeared to me to be somewhat of a disregard for the truth. He was making statements that he considered to be effective, but without having done the appropriate research behind them. He was either intentionally misrepresenting things or simply acting with disregard for the truth and not exercising the care that he should have as a scientist and a skeptic.
By the end, though, after the approach that Dr. Plimer took and some of the shenanigans that went on, and particularly the stunt with the electrical cable, which shocked everyone, I think, if you excuse the pun, but I left disappointed that there was no debate, but on the other hand excited because the stuff I'd been reading had been vindicated, and Ian Plimer seemed to have so little to say on the subject, and I really got the feeling that a lot of people left who had come expecting an overwhelming argument to blow away the creationist story, and leaving somewhat confused because they didn't get what they bargained for. They didn't get any rebuttal at all of what Dr. Gish was talking about.
I would have to say, more than anything, I was very much disappointed with the performance that Dr. Plimer had given him that night. To me, it was embarrassing, his behaviour, and because there wasn't much coming in terms of his scientific defence, though I certainly heard Dr. Gish speaking as a scientist and giving reasons and explanations, and he was never condescending to his audience or even to Dr. Plimer. That was an impression that was left on me from that debate for certain.
There was just really no debate, and Professor Plimer didn't address the scientific issues that we were all there to hear. I was left to feel, my only conclusion was that he had nothing to say, that essentially the emperor had no clothes, and that his only mode of defence was attack, because he had no way of arguing against the scientific points that were being made by Duane Gish, and that left me initially confused because I didn't expect that, and in the end it really had a very powerful effect on my view on the issue from that point on.
I have been told that a number of people who attended debate revealed the fact that this was the occasion that led them to Christ. They became Christians as a result. Others who became convinced creationists.
I'm not surprised to hear that several people became Christians and creationists, including a doctor, in response to watching the Gish-Plimer debate. I think that watching someone behave in the manner that Plimer did might cause someone to question what he's defending against and why he feels that way, and to dig deeper.
I became a Christian some years later, and I had the opportunity, just in the first few weeks that I started professing to be a Christian, to see the debate again on videotape. Watching it the second time, I seen this lack of objectivity in Plimer. And yet here I was professing to be a Christian, but I was still, there was a part of me still looking to Plimer for the answers. The scientific answers. Because, see, I had my life invested in this worldview since I was a child. You know, this naturalistic explanation for origins. And yet, watching Plimer avoiding any display of science or any reasonable, sort of discourse with his opponent, it was, emotionally, I kind of felt cheated. As I seen the folly of really my own worldview being exposed, I suppose, was one of the most powerful things that I came away from watching that debate for a second time.
After the negative reaction from the Australian skeptics to my previous article, Some Failures of Organized Skepticism, that prompted me to dig deeper. The reaction that I got from them was very negative and seemed more interested in discrediting me than in getting to the truth of the matter. And that sort of inspired me to dig deeper and find out what was really going on, as well as to find out more about some of the charges that Plimer made in the debate. In particular, he had made accusations of financial fraud on the part of the Creation Science Foundation.
I went on to read a book Dr. Plimer wrote called Telling Lies for God. And I was motivated to read this book based on what I'd seen in the debate. And I had thought at the time with the debate that, maybe this Dr. Plimer had just had a bad day. And I was motivated to read the book, to see what motivated him.
When I first read Professor Ian Plimer's book, the first thing I did was look for my name in it. I appear in a series of about 4 pages where he attacks me and criticizes me for my article, How Not to Argue with Creationists. And the most interesting thing about that section of the book to me is that he didn't actually respond to any of the arguments I made, but instead just gave a series of misrepresentations about my viewpoints.